Hey everybody, before I get started, I just want to mention a couple of ways that you can engage with me on a more personal level. I have a few avenues set up and I keep focusing on one, and I figured why don't I make a short little video talking about all of them real quick before we get into these episodes. So first thing, Patreon. There's a link in the episode description and every episode description to the Patreon, as well as a video on the feed called Major Announcement that has all the details of what each tier offers and how much they cost. I implore you to check that out. I offer a lot of cool shit for my patrons. Second thing, the Discord channel. There's also a Discord link in the episode description and in every episode description. I have multiple channels set up there for each show that I'm covering, and it's a great way to just engage with me. I have a channel set up for MMA talk as well. I'm a big MMA fan, so if you're an MMA fan, you can check that out as well. There's a link to the Discord in the episode description. And then lastly, the Facebook and Twitter. Social media. Follow me on there. I post news on there. When I say news, I mean like, hey, I'm stopping covering this show. Hey, I'm starting covering this show. Let me know what you think about this. I do live watches of things on Facebook where like I'll check in and say I'm watching so-and-so show, and then I'll like live comment while I'm watching it, and that'll be cool if maybe you watch that show too and you want to watch along with me, or you're watching it later and you will see my thoughts, which are usually pretty entertaining because I'm usually pretty high when I'm writing them. So check out all those links in each episode description, and let's talk about this episode. Peace.
One mic. Yeah. All I need is one mic. Yeah. All I need is one mic.
First of all, fuck that episode. I'm not even gonna go through my whole spiel of, welcome to One Mic, and this is talk about this episode, and here's the episode time. I'm not even gonna waste my time giving this shitty episode the dignity of going through my whole spiel and treating this like a respectable episode of television. I'm not even gonna waste my time. This episode was a complete and total piece of shit. Like, there wasn't a single satisfactory answer given. There was all sorts of shit left unanswered, and it was replete with stupid fucking moment after stupid fucking moment. The only good thing about this episode was Clive Owen. He was great. Every single thing else, everything was a complete fucking disaster. I'm not even gonna bother like recapping the episode because that'd be a waste of my time, and I'm not gonna dedicate more time to giving answers than this show's finale did. So instead, I'm gonna spend however long it takes to break down how and why this is probably one of the worst finales that I've ever seen. First and motherfucking foremost, this episode and this show's biggest failure is consistently telling me that Bill is Zoomer's biological father and that Lee didn't know that without explaining how the fuck that's possible. Like, that is so fucking irritating. They could have done it in one line. Just one line. When Lee was put under anesthesia for a root canal, I had Ray make Zoomer impregnate Lee with Bill's jizz, which I acquired manually. There you go. Boom, done, explanation given. Now I don't have to go on this rant. But no, they wanted to keep harping on this with no intention of explaining it, and I just don't see how the fuck they thought that was a good idea. Like, do these people literally need to go back to high school health class and learn how fucking and making babies work? Because they clearly have no fucking idea. They just say, yeah, she's just pregnant by anybody. And they don't need to explain that. Like, I seriously, do you not know how fucking works? Like, I'm in awe that they just continue to put that out there and not explain it. Like, anyway, I'm not even gonna stay on this because there's too many other stupid things to harp on. That was the single stupidest thing this show has done. I hate it, and I was giving this show an F if that wasn't explained along. Like, if everything else was perfect and they didn't explain that, still an F. Like, because that's such a huge fucking miscalculation. I wasn't even willing to forgive that. But fortunately for me, there's a whole lot of other mistakes to choose from in citing why this was such a shitty episode. So the first half of this episode, it doesn't really go anywhere. It's basically Andy and Lee telling us a bunch of shit that we already knew or had already naturally assumed ourselves. But nothing really gets interesting until Zoomer enters the room, that they're all down on the negative 10th floor. And he has a fit about not being able to play this game. And then this all of a sudden triggers something in Darby. We don't know what or how. But it triggers her to question Zoomer very directly about his interactions with Bill. And this line of questioning leads us to learn one thing we had already deduced, that Ray was involved, combined with the only thing we learned of value in this episode, that Zoomer was his unwitting accomplice. This explains the door opening to Bill's room with no one standing in front of the camera. And if you recall, it was just last week, I pointed this out. Darby stupidly assumed that someone had deleted themselves and their shadow from this video while standing next to a person in a wheelchair, which should have helped her deduce that maybe it was someone who wasn't high up enough for the camera. But no. Why would the show write the characters in a way where they would behave as normal people would? Because that would betray the mystery and I'm going to get to it later. There's just so much that pissed me off. All right, I'm still fired up. So this is just a tease at how stupid Darby and the writing were going to be in the finale. This was just giving us a taste right now. So they explained that Ray opened the safe and Zoomer got the morphine because Ray told him that Bill was sick. At this point, I was really excited to see how they were going to explain a child injecting an adult with morphine, even though the adult thought it was a game. But turns out it was just a sneak attack. But like they set up something that was really stupid. So I was like, oh, this is going to be really good. But nope, he just snuck and did it. This also explained Rohan's death to anyone who doesn't watch my videos and thus wasn't already thinking it was Ray and an accomplice. But Zoomer, he took out the pacemaker machine, which of course Ray would have then hacked and used that to kill Rohan. Now, at this point in the episode, Andy finally starts questioning Ray. And Ray is like, it was just a game that me and Zoomer played, because Zoomer is a visual learner. I wasn't trying to kill anybody. And I'm like, what the fuck kind of game involves a child injecting an adult with morphine? Like, y'all not gonna keep asking Ray questions? Because that's a pretty important one. But I don't know. It's only important to me, I guess. And then another thing that pissed me off was their explanation for Sean's death. Like, Darby, who all episode presents theories as facts, proclaims Sean's death to be an accident. But just the fact that she proclaimed it, like, oh, it was an accident, like it was a foregone conclusion. Well, Sean's death was an accident because Lou May caused the network to go down when she hacked the firewall to contact their security team, which locked the helmets. Oh, perfect explanation. No more work needed here, you stupid fucks. For some reason, every fucking person involved with this show read that line or watched her perform it and said, yeah, that tracks. What the fuck is wrong with you people? Like, that's not even how Sean died. She died way after that, after being released from the helmet in very suspicious circumstances with Darby in the room and seemingly knowing it was coming. They explained fuck all about that. They were just like, well, we explained why the helmets worked, so our job here is done. Fuck you. You didn't do shit. You didn't explain shit. And then the worst moment of the whole episode is when Darby says, Ray, and he doesn't answer. And then Darby goes, I forgot he only answers to one man. Andy, do you want to ask him? Ray has answered to every literal fucking breathing fucking human in this show all season. But now all of a sudden, Darby has forgotten something that was never the case because the writers lazily wanted an excuse to roll out that deepfake voice tag. So they made Ray a chauvinist pig for one fucking line just to roll out that fucking tag. Nice work, you fucking buffoon. And here's the thing. If it had been introduced earlier and then utilized in that moment, fine, cool, I'm with it. But don't roll out brand new tech in the finale, especially don't do it that fucking lazily. Then even worse, like, I don't know, like 2-3 scenes later, Darby, Lee, and Zoomer are all in the server room where Ray is, I'll say where Ray is, but like where Ray originates. And Ray is like, yo, y'all can't be in here. It's like super tight security. This is only for Andy. And Lee is like, hey, Ray, play some music. And he's like, of course, Lee. Dog, like, I just bust out laughing. I'm like, did monkeys write this script? like, have you guys heard like the infinite monkey theory or something where it's like, you know, a monkey given an infinite amount of time just pounding on a keyboard can write Shakespeare? It's something like that. Is that what happened here? Like, did the monkey arrive at Ray only answers to Andy, which isn't even true, as established in every single moment that Ray has been on the show previously. And then 2 scenes later, they arrived at Ray answering to Lee. Like, did they arrive there by monkey happenstance? Like, what kind of... Well, I was about to say something problematic. Anyway, Darby uses this brand new deep fake voice tech that didn't exist until just now to get Ray to play therapy sessions with Andy, where Andy is shitting on Bill for being late for dinner. And I'm just like, what the fuck am I even watching right now? And I mean, I'm being a little facetious. Like, yeah, I get the deep-seated resentment that Andy would have toward Bill, but they really, in that scene, they kind of made it sound like Andy had Bill killed because he was late for dinner. And I'm just like, what are you guys doing, man? And then Darby, as she is prone to do, starts throwing out all sorts of wild, unfounded accusations at Andy based on absolutely nothing more than the shit that she just made up in her head at that moment, because the only evidence they have that Andy killed Bill is therapy sessions of Andy shitting on Bill, and baby, that ain't evidence. So I don't know what like, that's all they felt like they needed to lay out. Like, man, y'all can make me lose my voice fucking around this stupid fucking episode, man. I'm gonna get flagged for too much profanity in this video. And then Andy appropriately addresses the stupidity of that accusation by basically saying, like, that's the point of therapy, to release feelings you can't otherwise. I'm always being monitored and watched. I don't get the moment to release my hatred for the guy who is the actual biological father of my son, who I love so much. I don't get to do that, so I do it in therapy with Ray. Like, it's a very valid fucking explanation, dog. And he's like, they're not literal. I didn't act on him. I'm sitting here like, he's making a lot of sense, you guys. And Darby just looks so stupid in that scene, man. Well, I'm sorry, no, she didn't. She looks stupid through the entire fucking episode, but like extra stupid in that scene. Darby continues throwing accusations and brings up Zoomer, and Andy starts to choke her, and I'm just sitting there throwing back popcorn like, well, she was asking for this. So, like I said earlier, they go to the server room to shut down Ray, and mind you, no motive has been established here. So I guess we're kind of left to assume that Ray was acting on Andy's behalf based on the therapy sessions, and also that Ray lies, but okay, whatever. I had checked out by that point anyway, so who gives a fuck? There were just too many holes and stupid moments. And then they set the server room on fire and explicitly say that Ray won't be able to put it out, and I just don't think that's the best idea when you're on the negative 10th floor of a hotel that's buried underneath snow in Iceland. But by this point, the characters have done so much stupid shit that I don't know. I was letting it roll on my back at this point. I'm like, well, hey, this is just part of the course right now. So, I don't know, man. They could have tossed some water on that motherfucker, man. They could have unplugged it right off the wall. I don't know. But they didn't even have to shut down Ray in that moment. Like, Ray is not an actual, like, present danger. Like, they could have left and, like, gotten out safely and then shut down Ray after the fact. But, hey. Who am I out here to suggest less stupid ways of doing things? And then to top it off, because they needed another stupid moment at the end of the episode, Darby is like narrating what happened to everybody like after the fact. And they're doing it like over this kind of like book reading. And she's like, I don't know if Lee and Zoomer survived or if they made it. And we see like Lee and Zoomer trekking through the snow. And I'm going to read you guys what I wrote on Facebook while I was watching Lee and Zoomer trek through the snow. I wrote, I'm going to assume Lee and Zoomer just froze to death because it ain't no way Rohan's boat sat off the coast of Iceland during a horrific storm for an indeterminate amount of time, just waiting on people who might show up at some point. And how did they end the episode? Exactly. Like, man, fuck this show, man. Like, this might have soured me on these whodunit type of shows for good. Like, more often than not, this is how they are. In the interest of preserving the mystery, they will have characters acting in plausible ways because the only thing that matters is the mystery. They think the ends justify the means, and they don't. They fucking don't, and they never do. Like, you can't act like things like making sense aren't important because you just want to land the plane in a specific place. If you want to land the plane there, set it up properly or land it somewhere the fuck else. Like, but they didn't care how they got to the ending, and it shows. So congratulations, Zal, Batman, and Britt Marling. You made a really fun show for 6 episodes and completely shit the bed at the end so badly that I'm never gonna watch anything you make ever again. Congratulations. Also, who was on the other end of the little Morse signaling, the red thing? Who was the other person that Rohan was signaling toward? Who closed the pool cover on Darby? All of these things, the show doesn't give a fuck. They just wanted to land the plane at where they wanted to land it, and how they got there, they was like, yeah, we could throw all this other shit out that we set up. It was all red herrings. Who gives a fuck anyway? And like, this is an insult to people like myself, people like, I did the DVR podcast a couple episodes back, and they had all kinds of theories about what might be going on. They're thinking hard, like, all these ideas. People are working hard to try to, like, to be engaged with this show. This was a big fuck you to all of us who cared about how this ended. Like, this is an insult. This is a piece of shit for an episode. It's a piece of shit for a finale. The people involved in it and who wrote it should be ashamed of themselves. And I'm never watching anything by these people ever again. This is a complete piece of shit. And that's all I got. Sorry. Peace.